What's up, baseball glove buddies and now YouTube buddies? This is my 1 millionth video. I'm just kidding. I don't even know how many videos I've done, but I'm going to do a couple to introduce myself to you and introduce you kind of the concepts that I use as I lace. Quickly, I am living in the same room in the same house I was born in Skokie, Illinois. Woo. So there's that. Suburb of Chicago, so I've been here my whole life. I'm a Scrubs fan, not a Sox fan. Bears, Bulls, Hawks, etc. How did I get into lacing? Well, I'm spinning a glove around just to make you look at it. Was it working? I started breaking the lace on my 1968 Carl Yastrzemski Spalding when I was 15 at Loyola Academy, a Jesuit college prep school somewhere in Illinois, no, in Wilmette. And I started to put things together because my dad thought I might be good at it, which was funny because I didn't know I was good at it. But it turned out that I was kind of good at it, and I kept on working on friends' gloves, ruining some, discovering other things with others. So the first web I swapped out was probably in 1997, which is funny because I don't swap a lot of webs, but it worked for what I was doing. So I kept trying things. Eventually, by about 1999, I started trying adding extra holes to gloves. I was interested always in performance and making something either more durable, but also higher performance. It's kind of how I think about gloves, and that's true to this day. The other thing I was also doing at the same time and still do is fixing equipment, specifically ice hockey stuff, because I play ice hockey, floor hockey, roller hockey. So a lot of the skill sets that I learned and I use with gloves come from working on those other pieces of equipment. So punching holes, melting things, that's all coming from ice hockey equipment repair. A little different. I'm a goaltender. So I've worked for 14 years at 2 different Play It Again Sportses. I've worked in Northbrook, a 3-time Store of the Year, which is kind of cool when I was working there. And I continued to earn business from people in the area because I worked at that store. I was also someone who fitted many children with gloves, bats, hockey skates, you name it. So I was still always around sporting goods. I have been my whole life. That more or less brings me up to today. There was a 7-year interval where I was horribly sick, chronic pain. It was awful. A couple of suicide attempts. It was bad. It was really bad, but thank the Lord, and you're going to hear me talk about Him a little bit, the Lord Jesus Christ, for His mercy upon me, and that through that time I still kept lacing and learning, and as I've become healthy again and full health, which is wonderful, and I thank the Lord for that, I found that the skills I had been learning, I was able to implement into more and more gloves and more and better gloves. So that's kind of my background. Yeah, obviously I offer free glove advice. It says it even there. See that? People call me and ask me questions. It's fine. It's my pleasure to help. I've repaired gloves, waxless break-ins, performance mods. I'll explain a little bit about how I actually think about a glove and how I work on it when I get it. I've thrown up some other videos that are going to follow this or be close to it, which talk about how you can break in a glove at home. Those are some methods that I've found really work well if you don't send it to me. And frankly, there are a million gloves out there, and I can't handle a million. So if 997,000 get done in a year because I can help them at home, that's good. I don't even need 3,000, but you get the point. So when I look at a glove, I will explain to you what I'm seeing. This is a brand new glove. This happens to be a 44 Pro. It could be a Wilson A2000, A2K, whatever. It's brand new, okay? So as you can see, right, it doesn't want to bend, and it doesn't want to catch anything. Let me explain to you what's actually going on inside, and then I'll explain to you why what I do is the best, as far as I'm aware of anybody in the country. It's the most coordinated, beginning to end system that I know of. In fact, I didn't even think it was that special until one of my friends was like, "You realize you've invented like an entire new way of thinking about gloves?" I said, "Really?" He's like, "You should probably talk about this once in a while." So here we go. So Dave Wagner, I fix gloves. Let's talk about what's in a glove, a brand new glove. So we have a 44 Pro Signature Series. It's got very good leather. We're not going to argue about different types of leather. Horween, not Horween, Taguchi, don't worry about it. This is Pro Line leather. pro-line lace. That means top of the line, okay? But I'm talking about the construction of a glove, all right? That's all we're talking about is how it's built. Now, one thing that you may not know, in fact, most people do not know, is inside of one of these gloves, there is actually another glove inside, and there is a small glove. If you look in here, when you put your hand into this glove, you'll feel finger dividers, right? There's dividers in here. Well, actually, what you're feeling is there's a small glove which looks something like a human hand that isn't this part or this part. It's another like glove that's slid into here. Okay, so it's put in at the factory. Now, here's the catch. When the factory does this, and they do it because it feels comfortable, and glove companies have been doing this since gloves were invented. So in the 30s, 40s, this was common. Still to today. When they slide that layer or that liner in there, in order to get this piece of leather to sit tight against the inside of the liner, they've got to use a type of, glue is not the right word, but it's a waxy substance. I don't have any like right in front of me. It looks kind of like Vaseline. It's a little dirtier or murkier in color, and it has the I don't know if viscosity is the right word, but it has the tackiness of something between peanut butter and a chewed piece of gum. So if you mix those, something that's, you know, you pull your fingers apart, it stretches a little bit, and it's kind of thick. That's what is placed inside the palm of every single new glove. Cheap, expensive, custom, it's in all of them. In fact, you cannot have a glove made that doesn't have it, as far as I'm aware. And I have friends of mine who build gloves and work with factories that make them, and they won't do it. What that stuff is called, it's called palm adhesive. I call it beeswax because it's based on that kind of, but we'll use palm adhesive. That's a more widely known term. So that is placed inside this section of the glove. You can't see it. It's inside, and you can't feel it from this side because it's between this layer and this layer. Well, the issue is it's spread in there, and when they're at the factory building the glove, one of the last things that they'll do is they'll place it in a pounding machine, not for 100 years, just for a few pounds, and they'll basically place it in, and the machine will smash those layers of leather together with the adhesive in between, okay? That's done so when you get it in the mail, it looks nice and smooth, okay? Because sometimes patterns, that means the relation of each hole to the next, aren't perfect, and the palm adhesive is a nice kind of, it's kind of like it's a cheater in a way. It helps things look better when they weren't quite perfectly, the tolerances weren't quite awesome. It makes it look nice. So they put it in there. Well, here's the problem. The moment you get your glove, that palm adhesive begins to torment you for the rest of the life of the glove. And here's what happens. Take two pieces of paper, take a chewed piece of gum, and put it between them, and get a hammer and bang it out. So it's kind of like takes about this much room. Now, take those two pieces of paper, right? Now, if you want to fold the paper, is it going to be easier to fold the paper through the section where the gum is affixing both of the layers, or where the papers are floating over one another but are not stuck? The answer is you would like to fold it not in the middle. If this is where the glue was, you would fold it at the edge where there wasn't any gum. Not glue, gum, okay? You get the principle. Very simple. So when this glove comes, that palm adhesive is in here, right? It's right in that area. Well, guess what? Your hand wants to close a glove through what area? Now you're beginning to get it. The same spot. So a natural break angle is something like this. Okay, I'm using the tool, but something like that. That's where the most palm adhesive is. So what happens is this. Because there's so much resistance going that way, it's not uncommon for gloves to kind of pivot out of the way and try and find a path through which there's less adhesive, which is normally kind of over here. Now does it make any sense why you see so many gloves broken in like this? Right? I'll feel there's gloves like this. Well, let me tell you something. That palm adhesive is causing the glove to go off center. There's nothing you can do as a non-lacer to fix that. You can use my directions on how to break in a glove at home, and they help a lot. but you cannot eliminate that palm adhesive problem. If you steam the glove, what you will do is melt the palm adhesive, and it will absorb into the leather and become very hard and brittle. So you don't want to do that. So what I do is I take it out. Every piece that I can find, out. So I scoop it out, I scrape it out. It's a pain in the butt, but it comes out. The other things that palm adhesive does over time, one, it's heat malleable, so it adjusts based on temperatures, which is why when you put it in a steamer at like 180, it liquefies. Not ideal. If you heat it to about 125, it gets soft, but it won't liquefy, and you can move it around. Well, here's the catch. You already should be thinking ahead. Well, I live in Chicago. Temperature extremes in Chicago, in the winter, 5 degrees Fahrenheit. In the summer, 105. Palm adhesive reacts to temperature. So when the weather gets warmer, what happens? The palm adhesive gets softer. So here's a common problem I hear about. Someone will say, hey, I broke my glove in and I had it just the way I wanted it, and then my son left it out on the dashboard during a tournament, and like I got it back and I put my hand in it and it was all screwed up. Well, the glove wasn't screwed up. The palm adhesive melted and moved, or it got soft and shifted. Okay? Palm adhesive is the worst thing about most modern gloves, but every glove has it. So what I basically came up with, because I was so sick of this in my own gloves, I started removing it and see what would happen. And I found a bunch of positive benefits and no negative ones. That was the killer. I thought it was really helping a person when they put it in a glove. It doesn't do anything except make the glove look nice when it ships to you. That's it. Does it provide a padding? I guess in a sense it does, in the same way that a chewed piece of gum thrown in here would. Technically the glove would feel a little bit more stiff and I guess more padded. But truly, if those layers of leather cannot move one over the other, when the ball strikes it, what happens is the impulse goes through the first layer of leather, through the gum, through the second layer of leather, right to your hand, and it bounces away. So with catcher's mitts especially, you want to know why that brand new catcher's mitt that you spent $400 on and your son's been catching a guy throwing 90 and the ball's popping out? Palm adhesive, that's why. The glove cannot absorb the shock. The palm adhesive keeps everything so rigid that the shock travels straight through to the hand and back out. So it basically, I mean, it's not a testimonial exactly, but I have guys drop off gloves at my house, catchers especially, and sometimes the kids are very upset because they say, you know, my coach keeps yelling at me. Last year I played awesome. My dad got me this new custom A2000 or Rawlings or something, and the ball's popping out on me. And now my coach is yelling at me like, you better catch this ball or you're not playing. It's the palm adhesive. That's one of the major problems. So I take it out. And here's what happens when you take it out. The layers can move freely one over the other. Good. When you break in your glove now, you're not actually moving around palm adhesive. You're actually letting the leather adjust to your hand and your grip. So when I break in the glove, my hand is barely in the glove at all. So it never feels like my hand. Never, it can't. I remove the palm adhesive and do some other things, and it feels like your hand when you use it. So then you go out and you play catch, and I usually recommend 2 fingers in the pinky, right? Because you can develop a better break angle that way. And you take it, and the glove feels like you. All right? So that's one kind of innovation. The second thing is that palm adhesive tends to go up. When you bang on it, it goes up and it moves. And guess what's coming down out of here? Felt. It's made out of wool. Well, think about this. Where do you think a big chewed wad of Big League Chew would connect better to? A spatula that's coated with cooking spray? No, it won't stick. Guess where it'll stick really well? Take that chewed piece of gum and put it on a piece of carpet. It'll stick forever. That's the concept. The wool felt is kind of like carpet in how it feels. That palm adhesive goes to work, and it goes and sits in there, and it hangs out and invites its friends, and the stuff shifts over time. And what happens is with the constant slamming of the ball against the palm adhesive into the felt, will begin to tear the felt off. It actually kind of rubs it, pulls it down, because the ball's striking here and it's pulling this. It is not uncommon on a glove that has a couple years wear to take out almost a 1/2 to 3/4 of an inch of felt that was destroyed by the palm adhesive getting jammed into it. Okay? Does that really cheat you out of padding? Yeah, because felt is real padding. Palm adhesive is garbage. Take the palm adhesive out and clean the felt. Guess what? I open your glove 8 years later, you know what the felt looks like? about exactly the same as it does when I opened it up the first time, because the palm adhesive can't ruin it. All right, so gloves feel like your gloves. Other things that I do with most gloves, I'll put some flex into the heel section here, because another thing is, if that doesn't want to bend, you're going to wind up with this again, right? Which is great if you're playing, I don't know, wall ball with a tennis ball, but it's not so good when you're trying to play infield. Now, other things that I'll do with every single glove that I rebuild, if it's a break-in or a relace, I do the same stuff. All the lace comes out. Tanner's hard to the hide, 100-pound pull weight lace goes in, but it goes in after it's been pre-stressed. Take a look at this lace. See how it holds its shape? It springs back. I run all the lace through a D-ring, a thin, vapor-thin coating of Vaseline on it, and put it back in. So the lace that I put into a glove doesn't look like this. It looks like this. And it's hard to show exactly, but it's soft, it's treated, it's pre-stressed, so it actually performs better and longer. I wasn't trying to explain everything about what I do, but give you a good idea that this is not the same as everybody else thinks, because it isn't. Because of the system that I used, punching out all those holes, gloves are notoriously easy to use within days of receiving them, if not immediately out of the bag. And I'm not kidding. Something like this, you're going to play on the field in 2 weeks, and Pro 4.4s are incredibly stiff. Just telling you. Because it's all about how I think about what's going on inside of a glove. So, in another video I said how you can break in your glove at home. This one explains how I think about it, and how my introduction of kind of how the Lord's given me insight through working on over 2,500 of these things through the years. So, yeah, free glove advice. So if you have a question, call me. I can maybe recommend a model for you. I don't sell many gloves. My job is just to make them better. But, yeah, I think that's about it. There's other performance mods I do, and in some of the other videos you'll learn about them, but that's a basic concept. So I approach the glove differently. Most everyone else who laces gloves are going to take the old lace out and put new lace in. They never solve this problem. They never touch it. Which means that your glove, relaced from them, is going to feel brand new again, because they're going to throw more palm adhesive in, thus compounding the problem. But I don't like palm adhesive. I want your glove to actually work well for a long time and not get torn apart. What do I know, right? So there's me, David Matthew Wagner. I know a little too much about gloves, but it's about kids and communities and making memories, and so a lot of things that I've been able to help out have helped kids get to the NCAA and get into pro ball. So I'm working with guys that are getting paid to play baseball, special performance modifications for them, things that I do with customers every day, so that when your glove, no matter what it is, goes up against another glove that wasn't worked on by me, you have the advantage every single time, and that's the goal. So I say it's kind of a joke, make every glove a Wagner glove, but it's true. I don't care what manufacturer it is. I can mod things out so it plays better than it did before. So anyhow, that was long, but it's a YouTube video, and you got nothing else to do because you're just eating your breakfast. Anyway, thanks so much for watching. You can obviously, you know what to do on Facebook or YouTube. First time for YouTube, please spare me. You can like, follow, share, subscribe, hit notifications, do whatever you want. Tell your friends, don't tell your friends. Tell my mother, she'll yell at me, whatever you want. Anyway, Dave Wagner, Wagner Baseball Glove Repair on Facebook and YouTube now. And thanks so much for watching.